Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we are going to be discussing our picks for the second round of the 2021 NFL playoffs. This is Murder Your Bookie episode 70, 21 at this point, since we made two early season videos before the season, and now we're in playoffs week number 2. The season has flown by. Right now, I'll give you guys a quick recap of me and Lucas's pick total right now. I'm at 37 and 37 on normal picks, 11 and 6 on locks to bring me to 48 and 43 on the season. Lucas is 40 and 32 on normal picks, 9 and 8 on locks to bring him to 49 and 40, because one week Lucas took like 4 games, I took 5. It is what it is. We are both doing pretty solid this season. Last week, I definitely had a demise because none of my picks were hitting at all. My lock ended up pushing with the Bills game, and it just didn't look all that hot. But the playoff games last week were definitely very weird, considering the Browns ended up winning. So do you have anything to say, Lucas, before we get into this?
Nah, I mean, apparently the Browns are a top 8 team in the league. We'll see this week. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think our records are showing how hard it is to actually be like super profitable in the whole season, right? I mean, we are profitable right now, but like, I mean, I was sitting at like 63 at one point. You were at like 40 at one point. So like,
Yeah.
you can't make much money off this. That being said, that there is ways to edge it out over the long haul, which obviously we have shown.
Yeah, definitely. Especially since a lot of our picks at the beginning of the year, like the preseason picks, were hitting, like the Jets, not being very good. That was pretty obvious. And that one was like
Mhm.
plus 1,100. So if you bet like a decent amount of money on that, you'd be pretty happy right now. So let's get into it. Again, we do this video in terms of our confidence rating. Number 1 at the end is our lock. And then we start at 2 going through 5. And then at the end, we do 1 again. So at number 2, my first pick here, I'll just start. I got Ravens versus Bills over 50. Now, if I'm being honest with you, this seems like a sucker's bet because it just seems obvious that this game is going to go over 50, and that's exactly why I'm going to take it. I think that both of these teams can put up big points. I don't think there's going to be too much defense in this game. I think it'll, unlike the Ravens Titans game, I think the Bills will be able to actually score. The Titans were doing stupid stuff like punting later in the game when they should have easily went for it on 4th down. I think that the Bills won't make that same mistake if they get behind to the Baltimore Ravens. This is kind of a battle between former MVP versus maybe the current MVP, depending on who ends up winning the NFL MVP. I'm going to be honest with you, I have no idea if it's going to be Rodgers or Allen or Mahomes, but at the end of the day, I think that the Buffalo Bills and the Ravens are not going to play amazing defense. And since both these offenses are so good, I think over 50 should be an easy bet. But again, it seems so obvious that I might just be completely off on that.
Yeah, I mean, the reasoning behind it is sound. Obviously, you mentioned the Titans game, which, I mean, frankly, the Titans just got out game planned. I don't really think they played bad in a sense. I mean, Corey Davis legit got like completely shut out. I don't even know if Humphrey gave him like a 2-step lead on any of his routes. I'm not saying that. Uh, I'm not saying the Ravens could do that with the Bills this week, primarily because like they weren't in a spot to look ahead, the game plan ahead, because they were the underdogs last week, whereas the Bills maybe looked ahead. But I just think that those were the 2 biggest games of the week. So this is going to be a completely new slate, and I think the over is a good bet here because it's. I'm not saying it's impossible to shut down Stephon Diggs, but it's nearly impossible to shut down Stephon Diggs. It's hard to contain Lamar Jackson, so we're going to see a lot of big plays in this game. And I would say get on this line before they play Saturday, right? Or do they play Sunday?
I think they play Saturday, but I could be wrong.
Okay. I would just say get on it before the weekend because this is one where I think people will kind of hop on board and start just kind of betting the over, get it to 51, 52, and 50 is a pretty solid number. And not to mention that Zach Moss is out. It's not like the Bills run the ball, but now they're going to have to
Mhm.
throw the ball more in that sense, which is, I mean, that plays to their strong suit anyway. So, yeah, I think 50 is a good number here, but get on it before it gets to 52-ish.
All right, this is the Saturday night game as well. I
Okay.
just Googled it. So
Okay.
who's your first pick here, besides the lock, obviously?
Yep. So I have the Chiefs and the Browns under 57. I mean, I'm being honest. I looked at the lines right before we recorded this. That then I knew the point spreads. I didn't really know the totals. And 57 is insane to me. Like that is it's completely backing what the Browns did last week, which was um a snap over their head, 7 points. All 4 of his picks, the Browns did nothing. Like the Big Ben just threw it right into him. Like the first one where like It was to James Conner, whoever the running back was. Like he overthrew a check down by like 7 yards, picked right into the guy's hand. Like the Browns defense, besides creating a little bit of pressure off the edge,
Mhm.
literally did nothing last week that like would transfer over to this week against the Chiefs. And now I'm saying that, but like the Chiefs are going to shred them or whatever. I think the Chiefs can easily get to 30 points in this game. But the Browns are not putting up 27, 28 points in Arrowhead in the Chiefs rerun, two-peat of the Super Bowl in Baker Mayfield coming. I mean, one, it's Baker Mayfield coming off a playoff victory. That's like a big recipe for disaster right there for his ego, for a whatever you want to call it, a fall off game. So 57 is just way too high for an offense that has Jarvis Landry and 2 running backs, and that's it. So yeah, I'm just gonna take the under. I don't know if this is gonna go down because I was shocked to see. Like I would have said the Ravens Bills total was higher than the Chiefs total, but clearly it's 7 points farther off. So a little too high for me. A lot of too high for me actually.
I think it just assumes that the Chiefs are going to beat the shit out of the Browns, maybe, and that the Browns just trail
Yeah, but I
back
mean,
in
like
later.
even I guess, but like even 30 to 28, like that's what you're kind of projecting. Not even really that. Like you're projecting, if you're projecting a -10, so they're going to cover and go over
Mhm.
math. Like that's like 40. No, that's like yeah, like 40 to 20 is like the score you're
Yeah.
projecting. Like no, like I mean, like maybe, but like I don't know. The Chiefs don't care to run up teams. Like we've seen that all year. Um, 40 points would be insane. They'll pull Mahomes out if they have to. They'll run the ball because they value having Mahomes, having all these weapons going forward.
I agree. I wouldn't take. I definitely wouldn't touch the over. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think this could go over, but 57 just seems way too high at this point. And again, like you said, it definitely assumes the fact that the Browns' defense is going to actually play well, or that their offense will be able to play just as well as last week. So my next pick here, me and Lucas are going right up against each other, head to head here. Ravens versus Bills. I got Buffalo -2.5. Lucas likes the Ravens +2.5. Now, if I'm being honest with you, my pick to win the Super Bowl was the Buffalo Bills, so I just assumed the Bills are going to win all these games. Now, last week I obviously got a little too hyped on the Bills because I thought they'd be able to cover 6.5, 7, whatever you took it at. I assume that's around where it was by the time the game locked. Buffalo -2.5 here. I think they outplay the Ravens. I think this is their destiny to go ahead and play up against the Kansas City Chiefs next week and win or lose. I hope they beat the Chiefs because I don't want to see a team win 2 times in a row, but maybe they do end up losing to the Chiefs like Lucas obviously probably wants. But Buffalo -2.5 here. I think that the offense is just too strong. I think that they're on the destiny. They're destined to win here. Josh Allen has been on fire. The defense has looked all right, even though I think this is going to be a very high scoring game. It's definitely, in my opinion, just going to be Lamar finally won a playoff game, and then he just fails here and doesn't look as good as he did last week because he just ran for so many yards up against the Tennessee Titans. So, what is your reasoning behind the Ravens +2.5?
I mean, I'm a big fan of like Lamar, the Ravens, the coaching. I had a lot of Lamar in fantasy, and I wouldn't say like it let me down because he was still, I don't know, top 10 quarterback or something. Like obviously he regressed a little bit, which we expected.
Yeah.
The reason I guess I was on him is because I figured the passing attempts would go up, which would just even out the insane passing production they had last year. I haven't even looked at the stats yet. I'm not really worried about in-season research yet to see if that was the case. They just looked good last week. Like the reasoning I was behind the Titans in the Super Bowl was if you keep giving them 1 week seasons like we saw last year, they're just going to out game plan whoever they play. Because I
Mhm.
think Vrabel's a good coach, Tannehill's a good quarterback. Obviously, they have their weapons. Their defense is pretty solid. They completely out game plan the Titans last week. Like Derrick
Yeah.
Henry got shut down. It's not like Derrick Henry was bad last week. Like he just got completely shut down. Like I said,
Mhm.
Davis had 0 points in fantasy or DFS, whatever you're playing. Like he
Yeah.
was not open on one route. Yes, AJ Brown got his, but he basically got shut down to the extent of like if he's the only funnel of the offense, like he got shut down.
Mhm.
Meaning, I think the Ravens are just kind of like they're just kind of hitting right where they need to hit in the sense. And the strength of last week was their secondary, meaning like they evened out the rushing game and their secondary. Now they play the Bills who don't run the ball. And all you
Mhm.
have to do is just limit these big plays, which the Colts did last week. The Colts should have won that game. They shot themselves in the foot. I just think the Ravens are going to do it. And I don't know. I just don't know what team, maybe besides like the Rams, can actually shut down Lamar Jackson's rushing ability. And if you give him over 100 yards, the Ravens, I mean, you could probably run do a little research. Every game that he hits like 90 plus yards rushing, I'm sure he's undefeated in. Maybe except for the Titans game last year in the playoffs. But
Yeah.
like, it's just I just don't see anyone stopping him right now. And uh, I made the take that like I think they're the second best team in the league based off what I saw last week because they give the Chiefs the biggest like headache in game planning because they have Lamar, because they Hollywood's playing good now. Andrews is basically Travis Kelce Jr. I just think it's I don't know. I think this would be a pick 'em. I'm hoping I can get 3. I'll probably end up just teasing the Ravens because 2.5. You're better off laying the money line on the Ravens than laying 2.5. Like it's kind of a dead number. So I would
Mhm.
say either tease them or just lay the money line if you do like the Ravens side. But yeah, this is going to be, I think, the best game of the week. I think all 4 games are going to be good, but this is the most um, kind of promising for the future and for now. I mean, you got the former MVP, the maybe this year's MVP. I probably this year's MVP. I think I would give my vote to both in 2018. Both kind of were in a sense, throwaway quarterbacks in that 2018 class because no one thought they were going to be good. So this game's going to be exciting. Saturday night game, you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just I just like the Ravens side. Obviously, in the case of this contest, the 2.5 might come back to bite me if they lose by 3 or something. So I'll be betting in real life. I'll be betting the Ravens money line and probably teasing them.
That makes sense. I took the Titans money line last week, and that did not work out very well for me.
Yeah,
So my next pick here, I got the Browns versus Chiefs, and me and Lucas are going against each other again on this. This is Lucas's 5th most confident pick, my 4th most confident pick. I like the Cleveland Browns plus 10. I think they somehow just hang in here, or at the end of the game somehow cover. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns were up by like 12 or something stupid to start this game. Obviously, 12 is just a weird number to be up, but that would just seem like what that would happen, and the Chiefs just come back and smack them up. But I think the Cleveland Browns will be able to hang in there. I just don't like taking a -10 in a playoff game, if I'm being honest with you. But if there was any team to do it, it would be with the Chiefs. But I just think the Browns are good enough to somehow backdoor cover plus 10. I don't think this is really going to be a blowout. So I am going to take Cleveland plus 10. But again, Lucas talked about it earlier. There's this thing called the Baker Mayfield cycle. I don't know if you guys have seen the meme where it's like talk shit to the media, play really good, and then the next cycle is just play completely awful for like 3 games, and then the media starts firing him up. Then he plays good again. So we just saw him play really good. He's probably going to have a downfall. But at the end of the day, the running game should be good enough to keep him in here. I like Cleveland plus 10. What's your reasoning between the Chiefs -10, obviously?
yeah. I mean, it's kind of we talked about we'll have to condense the picks next week. I kind of just threw it in there because if everyone, I don't like tweet much or post much, but if everyone knows me, they know I'm anti anything related to the Browns because they're not good, because Baker's not good, because it's all just narratives around Baker because he's the #1 pick. People were saying he should be like most improved player, like comeback player of the year. I mean, yeah, it should be easy to come back from bottom 5 quarterback in the league to maybe average quarterback in the league. Like that's not constituting comeback player of the year. Um, the way I look at this is so I bet on the Steelers last week due to the COVID issues, no coach,
Yeah.
like just the history. I think a lot of people bet on the Steelers. I'm not saying that they deserved it. The Browns deserve to win that game, sure. But this is probably the best Browns game they've played since we've both been alive. Since like, and
Since
they come up,
1960 with Jim Brown.
yeah, they go up 28-0 in the first quarter, and they're 10-point underdogs in the final 8 teams. 10-point underdogs after coming off their highest game of the year. To me, like you're getting him at the cheapest you're going to get to fade him. I get 10's a lot of points, but I don't know. I just Chiefs on a 2-peat. They basically had 2 weeks off because they benched all their guys against the Chargers. They've been rested up. They've been eyeing down this game. They didn't really care who they played. I don't think it matters. You're telling me Baker's going to outthrow Mahomes? Chiefs defense is just as good as the Browns defense. Obviously, the Chiefs run game is not as good, but run game completely means nothing if the Browns are down by 2 scores. They're going to shut down Landry. Then you're going to funnel through Austin Hooper, Rashad Higgins. Like it just kind of lines up to where the Chiefs kind of win this game by a lot. I don't know. I mean, even if the Browns get up, like we saw this with the Chiefs last year in the Texans game, came back and won. Titans
Yeah.
game came back and won, like and covered in both those games, and they're both, I would imagine, touchdown favorites. I don't really know, so I'm not saying like lay the house on the 10 because that is a lot. That's why it's my 5th pick. I just kind of threw it in there, but I guess I'm more so saying don't play Cleveland plus 10, I think is kind of the way to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
every math model is going to have Cleveland as a value. Like, yeah, no crap. Like they're in the final 8 and they're a 10-point underdog. But this is
Yeah.
one where even if I was non-Cleveland biased, like everything lines up just to fade them in this game. But I mean, if they win, sure, then maybe I'll change my mind on Baker. But I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, I don't know why the Steelers benched Big Ben 2 weeks ago in Week 17. I think that's why, honestly, why they lost. Like he was just ice cold to
I
start the
think
game.
I think they wanted to play the Browns again because I was trying to find reasoning behind all that. Like, because like I think they were just confident the Bills would beat the Dolphins because that was their only hope of moving up, right? The Dolphins beating the Bills, which then would have moved the Dolphins into the playoffs if the Steelers would have had to play the guys, knocking the Browns out. Like I just think they lined it up to play the Browns again, and obviously that killed them. That backfired on them clearly. But
Yeah.
yeah, it didn't really make any sense. And hopefully that was the reason because that'd just be funny if that's why they got backfired on because they benched Big Ben in Week 17.
Yeah, and it also made the Dolphins miss the playoffs. If only
Yeah.
they didn't have Mason fucking Rudolph. So final game here. Me and Lucas picked the same game here. The LA Rams plus 6.5 over the Green Bay Packers. Now I think the Packers are going to end up winning this game, but I think it's going to be very, very close, which leads me to take the LA Rams plus 6.5. I doubt this goes to 7, if I'm being honest with you. It may move down. But again, a lot of the public loves the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers are one of those teams that, where regardless of where you live, there's going to be people that are fucking Packers fans because they're a bunch of front runners, which causes them to get more bets on them. The LA Rams are a pretty decent team. Very sad that that Walford guy literally just gets in the game, plays like 4 snaps, gets his back blown out, dies on the field. I mean, I honestly thought Blake Bortles was going to come in, and I was really hyped for that. But then Jared Goff got in, which kind of made me sad. But Goff is fine enough. The Packers are a very good team, without a doubt, in my opinion. I think they end up punching their ticket to the Super Bowl as well. But I think the Rams are a good enough defense to hold it in there as long as Goff can do something. Cam Akers rushed for what, 175 yards? There's 175 combined yards last week.
Yeah, he's finally hitting his stride for sure.
Yeah, he was absolutely insane. So I think the Rams should be good enough to cover plus 6.5 here. What's your reasoning between going with the Rams?
It really to me just comes down to they don't allow big plays. Like they have the lowest, I think, explosive play allowed on defense. Their corners are all top 5. All 3 of them are top 5 in PFF grades in the regular season. Like I'm not saying they're going to shut Devontae Adams down. I'll probably fucking lock in Devontae Adams at DFS because he'll be like the lowest owned he has been all year. But like, yeah, I mean they just don't allow big plays, and I get that 6.5 is kind of a dead number, but in the way I see it is, and it's maybe bad weather. They don't know yet. There's so many missed PATs this year that like I don't think 6.5 is a dead number anymore. Meaning like they could lose by a score but lose by 6, right? Like I think there'll be research behind that, or like someone will look into that, like because normally you want to hit the 3, 7, 13 or like the benchmark numbers for like underdogs, right? But like there's no home field, a lot of PATs missed. I think that's going to kind of readjust to where 6.5 is the new kind of one score underdogs. Yeah, I like 6.5. They don't allow big plays. I'm assuming Goff is playing quarterback. To be honest, I didn't watch the Rams Seattle games. Like I don't really know who looked better, if it matters, etc. Like the tight ends suck for the Rams. Everyone had Tyler Higbee ranked like top 4 tight end. Can just go, yeah, LOL.
It was like top 30 at the end of the
yeah,
season.
like they finally got Cooper Kupp running a little bit, which I think is good because he's kind of the key to having a good offense, I guess you could say. So yeah, I think it is 6.5 is the number. I think the Packers do win the game just because it's home field in Lambeau, but I think it's more of a 4 to 5 point game than a full touchdown.
Yeah, my only issue behind this was my thinking that it's going to be cold, and I'm not sure Pretty Boy Goff can really play too well in the cold. But again, it's really on the defense for the Rams to keep them in this game, and I think they will be able to do that. But like you said, I don't think Ramsey's going to be able to shut down Devontae Adams. It's literally impossible to shut down Devontae Adams, even though his numbers are really good.
Yeah, like I don't think like I made the take like a couple weeks ago that like the Rodgers and Adams have entered the Mahomes and Kelsey, like it doesn't matter who you're playing, you're going to get yours. And then it just brings in external factors like Tunyon, like MVS, like the run game, and which the Ravens do really good against tight ends and the run game. So yeah, I think you're right on. It doesn't matter what Adams does to relate it to the outcome.
Yeah. So do you have anything else to add here before we head out?
We have our locks, right?
Oh, shit. My bad. All right. Locks
The
of the
best
week.
picks.
My bad. Me and Lucas took the same exact game, but a different part of the game. I went with Bucks versus Saints over 52. I apologize for trying to leave a little too early. I
Yeah,
forgot
come
about the
on, get
locks.
out of here. Get out of
Exactly. I'm
here.
such a fucking rookie over here. Over 52 in this one. Now, I know what you might be thinking, Nick. The over didn't hit in either of the first two times they played. Actually, it might have hit the first time. The second time, it was just a murder of the Bucks. It was like, what was
Yeah.
it, 32-3 or something? Like
It was over in like the first two scores, pretty much.
Yeah, I bet on the Bucks. That was the most embarrassing game I've ever watched in my life. The Buccaneers just did not show up. But over 52 here, I like. I think I think this is honestly, I think this is Drew Brees' last ever game. I really think the Bucks are going to go in here and play well, and I think the Saints are going to be scoring. They were literally manhandling the Bears defense last week on Nickelodeon, no less. Slime Zone. Now it's gonna be sad that there's no Slime Zone this week. I actually watched it on Nickelodeon. It was
You
pure
did.
electricity.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
it was awesome. It was actually much better because the game sucked so bad that the fact that there was slime being shot and stuff just made it way better. So over 52 here, I like it a lot. I think both of these teams, they're just two old men looking to get a Super Bowl before either of them retire yet again. I mean, Breeze will win number 2. Tom Brady's on number 7,000. So I think that I just think that as long as, in my opinion, as long as the Bucks can score, which they weren't able to do the last time, this should go over. So that's just really my rationale behind it. This seems like a high scoring game. Seems like it should also be a higher scoring over under than the Chiefs versus the Browns as well. I think the Bucks are really going to go in here and score a bunch of points. Antonio Brown has been on fire. The Saints offense has also looked good, even with Michael Thomas coming off injury. He ended up scoring last week. Kamara looked pretty decent last week. Latavius Murray, I don't know if he was playing last week, but I know for sure he should be back
He
this week.
played.
He did play. Okay, so this offense should look
He
very good.
scored.
Oh, he
Yeah, he
did. So
scored a touchdown. It was like a weird like dump off, kind of at the end of the game. It didn't really matter at the point of when he scored.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right because Kamara didn't score and he ended up scoring. So I like the over 52 in this one. I just feel like this is going to be a real back and forth affair. And since it's the total is pretty low in my opinion, I'll take the over 52. And then you went with the Bucks +3, right?
Yeah, and I don't know. I know the Saints had the Bucks number all year. I know that. Well, week one, I'm going to kind of throw that out because it was week one on a new team for Tom Brady. Like, I'm just going to throw that one out. They got absolutely destroyed, and I don't even know what week that was, like 11 or something, 10 maybe.
Yeah, it was.
You're right. Like it was. Yeah, it was over. Like it was like literally the Browns game. Like it was over in the first quarter. Like I stopped watching it. I mean, I didn't bet on the Bucks then, but there's just something about giving Tom Brady +3 when this Bucks team is literally hitting on all cylinders. And the Bucks' weaknesses have been the number 2 receiver because Carlton Davis has not been that great in the slot, and like stopping. I don't want to say stopping the run, but stopping explosive plays against the run. And I mean, like Michael Thomas isn't going to win you games. They don't have a number 2 receiver on the Saints to beat Carlton Davis. Like, yes, Kamara can have explosive plays, but all you have to do is stop Kamara and let Thomas get his 7 for 70 and maybe a touchdown. Like, I feel like they're going to be able to do it. I know the Bucks had this game look ahead last week. Like, I know they're way better than 8 points. They're way much better than 8 points in the football team. Like, I know Tom Brady was eyeing this game down, and there's something about giving me 3 points. I don't know. It just feels right. I like the over. I'm probably going to be playing a lot of Bucks in DFS. Yeah, I don't know. It's just the 3 points a lot. I think if you tease them and the Ravens, like that's good. You do a little money line parlay them and the Ravens. Like I think there's just a lot of opportunity to kind of beat the Lions here this week, just based on what I've seen or just kind of the way I process through all these lines and whatnot.
Yeah, shout out to Mr. Taylor Heineke for making this +3 for the Bucks because Heineke actually looked really good last week. I mean, we saw on Twitter. Now, this has nothing to do with anything. Some people are doing a Twitter redraft of the NFL,
Oh my God.
and they took Tyler Heineke as a like top 20 quarterback. I mean, I don't even think the guy's going to start next year. He was amazing though. That was amazing to watch though. How good Taylor Heineke looked, but the Bucs were they just didn't give a fuck in that game. They just beat down the football team and just walked out of there. Like you said, it definitely was a look ahead game. This is the biggest game for Tom Brady in a while. This is a real prove it game. It's a huge game for Breeze as well because he's probably going to retire if he loses this game.
Yeah, this is probably the biggest game. Like, I don't want to say it's the biggest game of Tom Brady's career, but like, sorry, I'm logging my computer over here. I would say it's up there because you're going against Breeze, and he's retiring. They pulled him out of retirement last year.
Yeah.
Like, you're trying to prove you can do it with a new team with a lack of chemistry. This is the best team he's ever had. Bruce Arians didn't give a shit last week how many yards Heineke ran for because he's like, you can't win. Bruce Arians, big game for him. Like, this is just a big game. Battle of the grandpas, riding out into the sunset, Hall of Fame quarterbacks here. So I'm excited for this one to see if the Saints can sweep or if Brady can kind of get his revenge in probably the most important spot to do it in his career.
Yeah, I wish I knew the stat, to be honest with you, on the game, like how many times someone has beat a team 3 times in a row in a year, right? It has to be low, you would think, right?
I'm trying to think of like where you would have seen that.
It definitely has happened before because, like, especially in like the AFC, where like the Bills or something get into the
like sneak
playoffs.
into the playoffs. Yeah, that's true. I guess because it had to be a scenario where a team is so dominant, but a team like consistently sneaks into like the 6 seed or like the 5 seed. Yeah, that's an interesting thing to like. I'm sure you can like Pro Football Reference like
you could find
whatever they have, that season search thing or whatever. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see. I mean, if the Saints can 3-0 sweep them, then I'll be on the Saints a little more, kind of maybe beating the Chiefs. But I just don't see the Saints. They just don't look good. Like, their offense is just kind of gross. Like, watching it run out. I mean, granted they played the Bears and stuff, but like, I don't know. It's just not that great, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, if the NFL is actually rigged like some people believe it is, then the Saints are going to win the Super Bowl this year. I mean, it would make the most sense, like based upon career arc or whatever would sell. But I really think the Bucs are just going to get him here. And again, I took the over. I was going to take the Bucs, but I didn't want to do the same thing as Lucas as his lock because I really like the Bucs this week. So that's really it, I guess, for today. We will be back again next week with less picks probably because, again, there's only 4 games. Probably only be like a couple of picks, or not only 4 games. There's only 2 games next week. I apologize. So there's definitely going to be less picks, maybe even some player props. But sometimes we record these videos. The player props aren't even out yet. I don't even know if they're out for this week because I typically don't look until
they're not yet
closer to the game. They only come out around Fridays, I would say. So yeah, hopefully you guys did end up enjoying this video. Do you have anything else to say here?
No, I mean, this is probably, I guess, like the last week of affecting like our total win-loss on the year. So let's see if we can. I know we always promised a 10 a week, but let's see if, obviously that can't happen this week because we have the Bills and Ravens, but let's see if we can end on like a 9-1, 8-2 week or something.
Yeah, we have been doing pretty decent as of recently. It's been a pretty even year. I mean, we're not really super over, we're 97 and 83 combined. So it's not like we're dominating completely, but we're also not doing terrible. So
no, I agree. Yeah.
Been a weird year overall. I'm interested to see how the NFL looks next year, like if there's going to be fans or anything, because I honestly have no idea, even when the vaccine comes out, when this shit's going to stop. Like, the NBA is just canceling all types of games. I mean, we don't have to talk about this on air, but it's just weird how it's been.
No, I agree. It'll be interesting. Yeah, and I would be interested to see, like, if fans do come back, if that affects the lines, if home field advantage is kind of a thing again, or like, yeah, there's a lot of factors I think that can play into these lines going forward to next year.
Yeah, it's interesting to see if the Super Bowl actually has fans or not as well, because I don't think that really changed anything, because apparently they're just letting healthcare workers in. So then, like, there's not like a, like, I think the Super Bowl, what was it, 2 years ago, where the Patriots were in it, like Patriots, Rams, the fucking whole crowd was just Patriots fans. It was like, and I don't think that's what we'll see this year. Even though I guess the Bucs make the Super Bowl, you would think Bucs fans would be there.
That's true. Me and Tyler will be down. Yeah, me and Tyler will be down there. So hopefully we can get close or something. I don't really know what's going to happen.
Go kiss Tom Brady on the lips. So have a great rest of your guys' day. Make sure you guys follow Lucas on Twitter. I got to change it because Lucas got straight up hacked. The Russians got to him. So what's your new Twitter name again? I forgot.
Oh, gosh. Lucas Kaser 2 with the capital L and a K.
Awesome. Lucas Kaser 2 now on Twitter. I will make sure to change the graphics so that you can follow the correct Lucas. So have a great rest of your guys' day. Don't let the Russians get to your Twitter like they got to Lucas's. Have a great rest of your guys' day. I love you all, and this was probably a pretty long episode. We've been going for like 30 minutes because we've just been talking for no reason. So have a great rest of your guys' day.
Yeah.
Great success. Goodbye.